The hallway was quiet that Tuesday night, just the soft hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of dishes clinking in the kitchen. Tom walked down the familiar path to his 7-year-old son's bedroom, the same routine he'd followed for years. But tonight, something felt different. The air seemed thicker, almost electric, like the moments before a thunderstorm breaks. He pushed open the door to find his son sitting upright in bed, covers pulled up to his chin. What stopped Tom cold wasn't the fact that his boy was still awake. It was the smile. A wide, unnatural grin stretched from ear to ear across his son's face, so broad it seemed to split his features in half. The smile never wavered, never flickered, just held there like a mask frozen in place. "Hey, buddy," Tom said, his voice catching slightly. "You should be asleep by now." His son's head tilted to one side, that impossible smile still plastered across his face. The boy's eyes, usually bright and mischievous, seemed darker somehow, reflecting the dim light from the hallway like black mirrors. "Daddy," the boy said, his voice oddly flat despite the grim, "can you check for monsters under my bed?" The request was normal enough, something his son had asked dozens of times before. But the way he said it with that unwavering smile and those hollow eyes made Tom's skin crawl. Still, he was a father. This was his child. He had to be brave. Tom knelt down beside the bed, his knees creaking against the hardwood floor. The space under the bed was dark, a black void that seemed to swallow the light from the room above. He pulled out his phone, turning on the flashlight, and bent down to peer into the shadows. What he saw there made his blood turn to ice water in his veins. Huddled in the far corner, pressed against the wall like a frightened animal, was his real son, his actual boy, pale as moonlight, eyes wide open with terror, tears streaming down his cheeks. The child's lips were moving, forming words that came out as barely a whisper. "Daddy," the real boy breathed, his voice shaking with fear. "There's someone on my bed." Tom's world tilted sideways. His mind struggled to process what he was seeing, what he was hearing. He looked up at the bed, where that thing with his son's face continued to smile that horrible, endless smile. Then back down at his real child, trembling in the darkness below. The creature on the bed spoke again, its voice now carrying a sing-song quality that made Tom's flesh crawl. "Did you find any monsters, Daddy?" it asked, that grin never faltering, never changing. "Did you find what you were looking for?" Tom's hand shook as he reached under the bed towards his real son. His boy flinched at first, then recognized his father's touch and scrambled toward him. As Tom pulled his child from under the bed, he could feel his boy heart hammering against his chest like a tapped bird. "What do you want?" Tom whispered to the thing on the bed, his voice barely audible. The creature's head tilted the other way now, like a curious dog. But that smile remained constant, unwavering, inhuman. It said, "I want to play. I want to be part of your family. I want to smile forever and ever and ever." The words hung in the air like a curse, and Tom realized with growing horror that this thing, whatever it was, had been studying them, learning them, copying them. He backed towards the door with his real child clinging to him, both of them never taking their eyes off the creature that wore his son's face. As they reached the threshold, he heard it speak one last time, its voice now a perfect mimicry of his son's usual bedtime plea. "Daddy, don't forget to turn off the light." Tom slammed the door shut and ran, his son in his arms, down the hallway toward the safety of the living room where his wife sat reading. But even as they fled, he could hear it behind the closed door, laughing with his son's voice, a sound that would haunt his dreams for years to come. The real question, BVC, isn't what that creature was or where it came from. The real question is this: how long had it been watching? How long had it been learning? And most terrifying of all, how many other families had it visited before finding the perfect one to call home? Some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed again. Some smiles hide teeth that were never meant for human faces, and sometimes the monsters under the bed aren't the ones we should be afraid of. Sometimes the real horror is what's sleeping right above them, wearing the face of someone we love.